Thank you. And this meeting will be recorded. So, do I have a motion towards suspension of the rules?
Well, that's normally your thing, but I will make a motion that we suspend the rules to allow participation by phone or video.
Do I have a second?
I'll
Thank you.
second.
Katie, could you please call the roll?
All right. Griffith,
Aye.
Jones. Aye. Schnur,
Aye.
Callahan,
Aye.
Biggs,
Aye.
Tristan,
Aye.
Papa,
Aye.
Eckersberg,
Aye.
and Pratt.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Do I have a motion regarding last week's minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Katie, please call the roll.
Griffith,
Aye.
Jones. Aye. Schnur,
Aye.
Callahan,
Aye.
Biggs,
Aye.
Tristan,
Aye.
Papa,
Aye.
Eckersberg,
Aye.
and Pratt.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to old business, we have an item in front of us today, 2424 Oakton Street. Mitch Malamed, Ehrenberg Goldgain, an applicant on behalf of Salvation Army, request a special use permit for a resale establishment in the C1 Commercial District, zoning code section 6-10-2-3, and the ORD Redevelopment Overlay District, zoning code section 6-15-13-7.5. The Land Use Commission makes a recommendation to the City Council, the determining body for this case, in accordance with section 6-3-5-8 of the Evanston Zoning Code and Ordinance 92-0-21. This item was previously considered on January 25th and was held. Mr. Malamed, do you want to do a talk through kind of what you've changed since the last time you were here?
Sure, I'd be happy to do so. First of all, good afternoon, and thank you for adjusting your schedules to have this Zoom meeting of the Design and Project Review Committee as a follow-up to the January 25th meeting. Subsequent to the previous meeting, the Salvation Army has incorporated the stated concerns by this committee in a document which I forwarded to Katie, I believe, proposed maintenance plan, which I hope addresses those concerns which had been previously expressed so that we could have a favorable recommendation for the March 9th meeting. We've also forwarded 2 letters of recommendation, which I hope you also have had occasion to see. One is from Alderman Burnett of the City of Chicago Council. He has been familiar with the Salvation Army and its complete operation, which incorporates significantly more than just resale or what we now call family stores. But just as importantly, I also attached a letter of recommendation from Creme de la Creme. That is a child care facility. They're nationwide, but there's a very large presence of Creme de la Creme immediately adjacent to the Salvation Army's family store on Clybourne. Initially, and I was the one who participated in this, so I'm very familiar with it. They were very skeptical of having a family store. The Salvation Army, just as in Evanston, needed to apply for a special use. In that case, it was a planned development. Subsequently, as you can see from that letter from Creme de la Creme, they have found out that the Salvation Army is not a good, but a great neighbor and a great friend. And so we're hoping to establish those same relationships in Evanston, knowing the previous history, and I say previous because I hope it is only previous history of the Salvation Army's family store in Evanston some 10 or so years ago. The plan, the proposed maintenance plans, which I now submitted on behalf of the Salvation Army, incorporates, I think, virtually every concern that had been expressed at our previous meeting. And I'd like to just highlight a few of those. One is dealing with the donation center. And if I'm not mistaken, it seems to me that that was the biggest concern, the donations. The Salvation Army is committed now to having a manned donation center area of the store, which has been previously shown where it would be located 7 days a week. They're not open 7 days a week, but nonetheless, they would man it 7 days a week, 1 hour before the store opens and 1 hour after closing. That should take care of all the concerns in my mind, in the Salvation Army's mind, during operation hours. There should be no issues. There hasn't been ever an issue at another location with that kind of manning of the location. The other issue I think dealt with mostly what would happen or what happens after hours. And I think that the plan that they have submitted makes a lot of sense. And again, the Salvation Army is looking for any other concerns that the city of Evanston would have in this regard, but they are of the opinion that having cameras at the donations area, plus security lights that go on via motion at night, would be very detrimental to anybody who wishes to come and pilfer or just drop off things at the donation site. Certainly, the Salvation Army would ask and hope that the city of Evanston would cooperate in discouraging people from this kind of behavior. And if they had cameras there, we certainly would be willing and happy to tender those to the city of Evanston so that they could pursue, if necessary, hopefully not, but if necessary, pursue an action to stop that kind of behavior. I think if one knew that there was going to be some type of enforcement other than just the Salvation Army's cameras being there, if it became necessary, I think that kind of behavior would end probably very, very, very quickly. In addition to that, they have looked at the design of the property and are of the opinion that the parking areas can have gates that close at night. They have that kind of opportunity on Clybourne, and they could do it here in the same fashion. To have some kind of gates that would close off access, if you will, to the area in after hours situation. They have also agreed, I think as was recommended, to patrol the surrounding area to make certain that there aren't any dumping of any kind of goods. And I think, again, because of where this is located, it's quite different than other locations that may have been historically noted in Evanston. This is a commercial area. As I've noted before, there's some surrounding businesses. Even to get into the property off of Oakton necessitates you stopping for a stoplight, making a turn. The Dunkin' Donuts is to the west. This property is to the east of that. You would have to turn then yet again into the Salvation Army proposed property, making it very, very difficult to access to after hours to do anything. Whoa, I just lost you. There you go.
No, we're still here.
I get you. Now I see. That's okay. In addition, I think we've shown and suggested that there be signage. And I think signage is as opposed to only a detriment, the kind of signage that's being suggested, I think is a positive. As put in the proposal, they're thinking along the lines of some kind of signage saying, please donate between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Be proud of Evanston. Let's keep it clean. So it's an affirmative kind of situation. So, and I think now that Kitty put that diagram up, you can see that accessing the property can be gated off rather simply from, as far as it relates to the access to the property. One of the last concerns, which I actually went to, and maybe I'll digress for a moment. The Salvation Army, Major Kendall Matthews is the officer that is in charge of Chicagoland, but the headquarters for the Salvation Army's 11 states is located in Hoffman Estates. And the officer that is in charge of the ARC and all the family stores is Major. And I spoke with him as it relates to, I think one of the individuals mentioned bed bugs. They are non-existent in the stores. I actually asked him in the 11 states which they have resale stores or family stores, have they had bed bug situations during his tenure? And I think he's been in head for it's Major Randall Posley. I think he's been in the head for about some 7 years now. And out of the 11 Midwest states and all their family stores, he said there was one instance reported of bed bugs in a chair, which was disposed of. So the bed bug issue is, as I had noted previously, is one of a residence. It's not one of stores. I would suggest that if you checked with Goodwill, they would tell you the same thing. The people that donate clothing don't have bed bugs. I mean, I donate, and I'm sure many of you donate your clothing that you wear, you wash, you have cleaned. So that is a non-existent issue. It is an issue that arises in residences or residences with multiple people or hotels that are not kept clean. So I would hope that that addressed what I in the Salvation Army understood to be this committee's concerns. But I'd be happy to answer additional questions and suggestions. Of course, the suggestions I think are very appropriate and always are taken with very seriously.
Thank you. We'll have comments from the staff, and then if there's any public that wishes to make a comment, that will follow the staff comments before the final vote. So at this point, if there are any staff that have comments, this would be the time.
I do. Thank you, Laura. I just want to say thank you for your thoroughness to answer our questions and respond. I read your letter and how you intend to proceed, and I just had a couple of thoughts. Number one, I don't know if we need to right away say that you need to install fencing or gates. I think it might deter some people in general. So I am comfortable with your approach right now in saying that you're going to monitor and keep an eye on everything. And then if we need to assess gate issues, bring that up at a later time. But I would like to have you think about something in terms of putting up a camera. If you put up a camera and you catch somebody fly dumping outside of regular hours, the police can get involved, but they have to have a complainant. And so you would have to be the complainant to sign that complaint to say that somebody fly dumped after hours in order for it to be prosecuted. So I just want to make sure that you're aware that if that happens, the Salvation Army would have to do their part in addition to just installing the cameras. You would have to pursue that. They can't just write somebody a ticket for dumping without, complainant issues.
Yeah, and I'm very familiar with that, and I do appreciate it. I think the goal would be obviously to, by having a camera and by having signs saying it is being filmed, that this would be unnecessary. I think it's just another, but in case there is a situation where someone's a repeat offender, which could happen, the Salvation Army absolutely would cooperate with the city in acting as a complainant if it became necessary. That's not an issue.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other staff comments?
Yeah, I do. It says you patrol the immediate area daily in case of dumping located within 250. Is it just one time a day that you plan on patrolling the area for any dumping or littering or any of that stuff?
I think that needs to be basically one needs to wait and see. If one time is enough, fine. If it necessitates more, they will be very willing. Again, these are neighbors. They're going to look at this as an endeavor of a neighborhood. It's their neighborhood, so they want to keep it clean. So you only can rely upon the kind of people that work there and the staff there. They'll make certain to take care of what's necessary. I also put in my proposed maintenance plan that they would increase their residential pickup, which would hopefully alleviate some additional concerns. They would have a regular schedule for residential pickups. But to address your concerns, they'll patrol it once. If there's necessity to patrol it twice, they'll do it. I think it has to be a wait and see. To just simply say twice a day doesn't make sense. 5 times a day doesn't make sense. It just has to be, again, on a good faith basis.
Can you explain a bit more on this pickup that you just described at individual residences on a
Sure.
predetermined schedule?
Sure. They have a call-in system, a very sophisticated call-in system that they identify where the pickups are. They have them on a regular basis. And they would, as necessary, increase that if there was, I guess, a concern about, to be very specific, Northwestern students at the end of the year. I get it. You want to get out of town, and you just throw stuff anywhere. Well, hopefully they would be able to arrange to have specific pickups at the locations, the Northwestern dorms, fraternity houses. They can't be garbage collectors, but if there is meaningful donations, that's their goal. So they do this now. They do this in the city. I'm positive everybody has seen their trucks. You can't help but see them.
And that might end up conflicting with some other initiatives that the city is currently working on. So we might have to work that out separately on how available that service is.
Okay. Clearly they would work with the city as to what the city would request of them on that issue.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns by staff?
I would like to suggest that a condition of approval be that there be an either annual or every other year review of the operations to make sure that the way that the facility is operating is truly kind of compliant with all of the conditions, and that also, as mentioned by Angel, we can establish if any gates are in fact necessary around the donation area.
I was going to suggest something similar. I'm a little concerned with the idea of putting up the fencing right now or any gates right now, because I don't want those to become an actual source of maintenance that, they can collect trash in the corners and other unsightly things. So I guess my goal would be to not have those things, but then have a 12-month review. And if we want to establish like every 24 months after that, I think that would be appropriate. That can just be hopefully a meeting where we just sit down and talk through what's going on. But I think that would go a long way towards working out any issues that develop. And then if we need to add a fence at a later date, then we can add it then.
Yeah, I might suggest that. I didn't mean a fence like a cyclone fence.
No, I know.
They would have decorative fences in, but I certainly understand the city's concern about what a fence or gate represents. And I think that you're correct that if it can be avoided, it would be best to be avoided.
Are there any other staff concerns or questions? If not, if there's any other staff or public comment, I was just looking through. I'm not sure if we have a lot of members of the public here. And maybe you could raise your hand or type in the chat if you have a question or you want to make a public comment. I'm not seeing anybody. Katie, do you see anybody?
I do not see anyone either.
Okay. With that, this is not the determining body. We make a recommendation to the Land Use Commission, which makes a recommendation to the City Council for determination. So I would be happy to entertain a motion from staff.
I would make a motion that we approve based on the following conditions. That the Salvation Army staffs their donation area and monitors it as they represented in the letter that they presented to us today. That they have 24/7 monitoring with cameras, and they agree to work with the police department for any fly dumping issues that may arise. That they clean up and monitor the area 250 feet around the facility, and that we review the use for compliance in 12 months.
And I will amend that to say in 24 months, every 24 months thereafter.
Very good.
Do I have a second? I'm sorry. Thank you. Having it been properly moved and seconded, Katie, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Griffith,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Schnur,
Aye.
Callahan,
Aye.
Biggs,
Aye.
Tristan,
Aye.
Papa,
Aye.
Eckersberg, Eckersberg. You're still muted.
Aye.
And Pratt.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Katie. So Mr. Malamed, it looks like you're moving forward to the Land Use Commission with a positive recommendation. And thank you very much for returning with the additional information. That was very helpful. What Land Use Commission is the Salvation Army scheduled for?
Wednesday, March 9th at 7 o'clock, and that is being held via Zoom.
Oh, it's via Zoom, right? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, so if you have any questions, just work with staff to get those answered before the Land Use Commission, but thank you very much.
Thank you for your time and really appreciate it. Look forward to working with the city.
Thank you. And with that, do we have any other business coming up next week? Will we be having a meeting?
I'm verifying on our schedule. It looks like we tentatively have one item, which is the 1801 Central Street. But if that, and they missed the deadline to be on this meeting, so they may be considered on March 1st. But I'll confirm with Johanna if she would end up putting them on the 8th, and then next week could be canceled.
Okay, great. Any other questions or concerns or statements for the good of the order? With that, I'll accept a motion for adjournment.
Moved.
I'll make a
So
motion to
moved.
adjourn.
Second,
Second.
thank you, Michael. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Everybody have a great week.
You too. Thank you.